So one of the things that I've always wanted to do more of with this channel is I want to start reviewing older movies. Like, I did Lord of the Rings when the Hobbit movies were coming out, did some of the older Batman and Superman movies when Batman v Superman was on its way into theaters. I'm hoping to do Star Wars before Rogue One comes out, but first we got Fantastic Beasts in November, so let's talk about Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Or if you're like me in America, then you say Sorcerer's Stone. I kind of say both, so I might go back and forth between the two during this review. And I know Fantastic Beasts isn't until November, but there's 8 of these movies, so I might as well get a head start on them. And just like some of my other older movie reviews, I'm going to be talking about this one with some spoilers in it. So if you haven't seen Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, did your parents hate you? Did you not have a childhood? Go check out this movie. Okay, so Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I'm gonna put this wand down actually. This movie came out in 2001, about a month before Fellowship of the Ring came out. Of course, these are based off of the insanely popular novels by J.K. Rowling, and this is one of those few franchises where I've actually read the books that the movies are based off of. Because yeah, these books, they are my childhood. So I might be comparing the books and the movies here and there. But they brought on the director of the Home Alone movies and Mrs. Doubtfire, Chris Columbus. And if you don't know the plot of this movie, it's about Harry Potter. He's a little British orphan kid who's living under his aunt and uncle's stairs. He's never had a friend in his life, never belonged anywhere, and one day on his 11th birthday, he gets a letter saying that he's been accepted to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Yeah, he's a wizard. Imagine finding that out one day. So he goes to Hogwarts, he starts honing his magical skills, he meets some new friends, battles some dark wizards, and he starts the biggest franchise of the 2000s. Now the stuff that works in this movie, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, their whole friendship and relationship was great. Their acting and friendship gets deeper and stronger as the series goes on, but this is a great starting point. Harry and Ron hit it off right away. Ron and Hermione bicker all the time. They don't really like Hermione at first, but eventually they win her trust after they beat that troll in the girls' bathroom. And in this movie, Daniel Radcliffe as Harry, he just has like this innocence about him. He is our eyes into this world. He's discovering all this stuff for the first time. And I love how Chris Columbus treats everything in this movie with that grandiose, like, awe-inspiring magic that these things deserve. Like for instance, when you first see Hogwarts Castle, the boats are going through the lake and you see the castle, it's all lit up by night and Hedwig's theme starts playing. You feel like you're in the boats with those first years seeing this castle for the first time yourself. The rest of the supporting cast is great too. Richard Harris was great as Dumbledore. He's a very good book accurate Dumbledore. Maggie Smith was great. Alan Rickman was great. And a lot of the supporting cast is there, but they're not given a whole lot to do in this movie. Like they have parts. McGonagall has parts. Snape has parts. But Dumbledore doesn't really do a whole lot in this movie. I mean, he gives some speeches here and there, and then at the very end of the movie, he's with Harry in the hospital wing and explains the whole thing with Voldemort and love and, you know, Harry's magic. In this movie, you've also got the Weasley twins. They don't have a whole lot to do in this one. Their role gets expanded more in Chamber of Secrets and the movies going forward. And of course, you hear about Voldemort in this movie, but he's still in hiding. He doesn't have a body yet, and so he's not really as much of a presence in this movie. I would say that this movie focuses more on the rivalry between Harry and Malfoy than it does on the conflict between Harry and Voldemort. I mean, Voldemort's still there, like he's still an ominous presence in the movie. That scene when they go into the Forbidden Forest and you see a big cloaked figure drinking that unicorn blood. That's a creepy scene, that's an effective scene. But then you also gotta look at the fact that this is ultimately a kid's movie. It's not quite as deep as the later Potter movies get. You get little seeds of it here, and that's what I love, like the scene when, right before they go into the Great Hall and Malfoy meets Harry for the first time. He looks over at Ron, he's telling Harry, like, you'll soon find out that some wizarding families are better than others. Prejudice becomes a big theme in the later Harry Potter movies and books, and so I like how those seeds are there in this movie. I watched this movie pretty recently, and I really like the way that it looks. It's a lot brighter than the later movies are. A lot more colors, especially in the Quidditch scene. The robes are nice and bright. It's all sunny outside. And Hogwarts just has like this glow about it. And for the most part, the effects still hold up really well. Like Fluffy, I think, still looks great. That boa constrictor in the zoo scene at the beginning, he still looks great. It's usually the scenes when they try to CGI humans where it doesn't work. For instance, in the first flying lesson when Neville gets loose and he's flying all over and he gets stuck on that one tower. When he falls down, you can definitely tell it's a CGI body. And also when they're trying to get to the Philosopher's Stone at the end, going through all those trials, when Harry's on the broom trying to catch the key, there's some wide shots in there where you're just like, is he made out of Play-Doh? And again, going back to the themes, this movie also kind of touches on facts that later Potter books and movies talk about, which is like, you know, letting go of the past and not being held up by things that can't actually happen. Like Harry and Ron, they find this thing called the Mirror of Erised. You look into it and it shows you your heart's deepest, most passionate desires. What Ron sees is he sees himself as head boy and he's the Quidditch captain, he's got the Quidditch cup, he's got a nice girlfriend, his whole family surrounding him. And that's really nice because Ron has all these older brothers, he's usually being overshadowed by them. And so that's a really touching and kind of heartbreaking thing to see. And same with Harry, What Harry sees is he sees his parents who were killed by Voldemort when he was a baby. He sees himself reunited with his family. And Dumbledore says something along these lines to Harry. He says like, it doesn't do good to dwell on the past and forget to live. Something like that. In the book, Dumbledore's a little bit weirder, and when Harry asks him what he sees in the mirror, Dumbledore says, I picture myself holding a pair of woolly socks. But more on that topic later. And I mean much, much later. Now, one issue I do have with this movie is this movie's long. Like, really long. It's a kid's movie, and it's as long as The Dark Knight. I watched the extended version of this one that they usually show on ABC Family from time to time, and the version I watched is about 2 hours and 40 minutes. I think the theatrical cut's 2 hours and 30 minutes. And the scenes that they cut out of it and save for the extended edition, I'm like, yeah, definitely save those. Like, they're straight out of the book, and it's cool for me to watch them, being a fan of the books. And part of me feels like there's some scenes in the theatrical cut where they could like cut those out, do the Peter Jackson thing, save them for a longer extended edition. But then another part of me like can't really find any scenes that I would cut out of this movie. Like this movie and Chamber of Secrets, the second one, they're very accurate to the books. The books were smaller, so it was still manageable. But yeah, these are both long movies and you feel the weight of them. When I was a kid, I didn't feel them at all. I was like, yeah, Harry Potter is so cool. But now I watch them and I'm like, they're still great, but man, is this movie dragging. About 2/3 of the way into the movie, they're trying to find more about the Philosopher's Stone, and they're researching it in the library, talking to Hagrid about it. And that kind of takes a break from all the fun classes and the Quidditch matches and the little adventures they get in on the side. But then the end of this movie is great too. Harry standing off against Professor Quirrell, the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. He's got Voldemort growing on the back of his head. And even just in this first movie, you see such a transformation in Harry's character from this orphan kid at the beginning of the movie, super quiet, has no friends, total loner, to being a hero at the end of the movie, stopping the biggest, baddest dark wizard of all time. This movie holds a special place in my heart because it's part of my childhood. I recognize that there are parts of it that aren't quite as good as I remember them being, namely some of the effects and the pacing in the movie. But I love the characters, I love the acting, I love the world that this movie sets up, and it only leads to bigger and better things, which I hope that Fantastic Beasts can carry that tradition. So you should absolutely watch The Philosopher's Stone. It's a great movie. It's one of the best fantasy movies that we've had in recent years, and it only leads to bigger and better things. So Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, have you seen it? What did you think about this movie? And where would you rank it with the other Harry Potter movies? Comment down below, let me know what you think. And thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, click subscribe. You can check out some of my other stuff. Of course, I'm going to be reviewing the other 7 movies before Fantastic Beasts comes out this November. So look forward to those, and I'll catch you guys next time.